More than 90% of people marry by the age of 50. That is according to the American Psychological Association. Divorce rates are an all-time high. 50% of couples divorce. So if you're in a couple, in a relationship, and there's another relationship that you know, one of you will be divorced. Why should you care about this? If you want to live longer, if you want to have a better life, it protects any children that you might have. It allows the children to have better mental health, better physical health, and overall better social interaction with their peers. And if you overall just want to be happy, knowing these signs, the signs of divorce, will help you in your marriage. The first sign of divorce is if you're having a conflict and you start out with a harsh startup. What is a harsh startup? It is how the conflict begins. According to the Gottman Institute, 96% of the time you can predict the outcome of a conversation based on the first 3 minutes of the interaction. Now, if you're having harsh startups, how can you tell if you are? There are 5 ways to know if you are involved in harsh startups. The first way is you often think your partner is very critical. You hate the way your partner raises an issue. Arguments often seem to come out of nowhere. Before you know it, you're in a fight. When your partner complains, you feel that they are picking on you. Here's a scenario of a harsh startup. Your partner walks into the living room where you are relaxing and resting after a hard, long days at work. With a sigh, your partner rolls their eyes and points to you with their finger and says, "You promised to empty the dishwasher today. Why are you always sitting there doing nothing? I'm very angry with you." Now that's an example of a harsh startup. Now you need to move from harsh startups to soft startups. Now there are 4 ways to do a soft startup. Number 1, give a complaint without attacking. 2, make I statements instead of you statements. 3, without judgment, describe your perspective, your ideas, your feelings, and the facts of the issue. And 4, don't ignore the issues. Don't store them with the rest of the hurts that have been accumulated. Now here's the same scenario but with a soft startup. Your partner walks into the living room appearing calm and says, "I saw the dishwasher hasn't been unloaded. We agreed that you would unload that after work. I'm really upset." Now think how the person sitting on the couch will react to both situations. You can see how in one situation the partner on the couch would act differently from the soft startup to the harsh startup. Now the harsh startup will lead to what is known as the 4 horsemen. According to the Gottman Institute, the 4 horsemen are criticism, contempt, defensiveness, and stonewalling. Criticism is when you feel an attack towards your partner. Contempt is when we treat others with sarcasm, ridicule, name calling, or even your body language is eye rolling or your arms are crossed. Defensiveness is when we feel accused of something we did not do and we try to look for an excuse of why that's going on. Stonewalling is just shutting down and not talking. You avoid the conflict altogether. The next sign of divorce is having flooding. Flooding is when all the emotions, all the comments coming at you just pile up and they flood you. Your body language will be able to tell you if you're having flooding. John Gottman, founder of the Gottman Institute, said that one of the most apparent of these physical reactions is that your heart speeds up, pounding away at more than 100 beats per minute. The last sign that I wanted to talk about was having failed repair attempts. It is hard to stop once you get to this point, and having failed repair attempts is a big sign of divorce. You should be able to transition to successful repair attempts. Now, how can you do this? When you sit down to talk, that's step one. You need to sit down. The other step is when you're in the middle of your conflict, of your discussion, if it heats up or if it escalates, have rules set aside between you and your partner of what you will do. For instance, calling a timeout when the interaction increases, where both of you will go to separate rooms or leave and do something that you both enjoy doing by yourself, or switching the conversation and talk about something completely different, something fun, something enjoyable, something you both could build on, and then coming back and talking about it. The last thing you want to do is not resolve the conflict. By putting conflict away, it just piles up, and you end up being unhappy in the long run. This is a call to action for each one of you to make an effort to recognize these signs and to fix them before they even happen. Do not put them away, because doing so will have tremendous effects on your future generations. Put it this way, the Institute for American Values suggested that couples who had rated their marriage as very unhappy, 80% said they were happily married 5 years later. So if you feel you are in a hard time with your partner and there's no turning back, work through things, because you know what? Happier times are ahead.